According to a study conducted by the Glen Mary Research Institute, 1.2% of the Cambridge population adheres to Islam. With a greater range of student diversity in the Harvard population, the Muslim demographic is estimated to be higher within the university. Though the school has an active Islamic society, options for worship locations are limited. The school offers a Musalla prayer space in Harvard Hall with restricted swipe access and offers occasional services in Lowell Lecture Hall during Ramadan with very few alternative spaces. The closest mosques are 20 to 30 minutes away by public transportation. Because of this, we have proposed to build our mosque near the Harvard campus to give students easier, more convenient access to prayer, religious, and community spaces. We plan to build our mosque on Irving Street. This is an ideal setting as it is not only an open space, but less than a 10-minute walk from the Harvard Science Center and right across from a bus station connecting it to the greater Cambridge population. The space itself is in a wooded area near a residential neighborhood. We decided to keep our design modern and subtle as to not clash with the colonial architecture style of the surrounding area.
I'm going to talk about the materials we used in the mosque. Our mosque is primarily made out of wood and glass, and though wood is not a traditional medium used as the exterior structure of a mosque, we decided to use this material for a number of reasons. Wood is a very common material used in buildings in Boston, and also we were trying to incorporate our mosque as much as possible into the environment, and because it's in a wooded area, we wanted to sort of pay homage to the natural woods around it. We also used a lot of glass because light obviously has been a very important part of the Islamic tradition, and also we wanted to make our mosque as seamless with nature as possible.
Our major inspirations for the design came directly from the Quran. The first quote that inspired us was, "God is the light of the heavens and the earth." The second, "Wheresoever you look is the face of God." So the thematic focus of our mosque design are on nature and light.
On the rooftop of the mosque, you will find a prayer garden there. It is shaped to calligraphically say, Allah. This added aesthetic is meant to add another light dimension to the building. It is a literal manifestation of nature as a prayer to God, and when light shines down on the building, the word Allah will appear on the floor in the form of a shadow. The garden serves the dual role of shrouding the building in nature and making it merely a natural occurrence, and a reminder of how intrinsic nature and prayer are.
Bring the environment to the ritual prayer space, we wanted to emphasize that seamless transition between, the formal properties of ritual prayer in the Quran and sort of the natural work of God that is around us.
The mosque will be mostly naturally lit using high windows and skylights. Both of these architectural choices relate to the idea of Allah as one with nature and as a guiding light.
Also, there are 12 columns on each side of the courtyard, and those are to represent the 12 imams of Islam.
We chose 6 sides for our mosque because, for one, it's very aesthetically pleasing, it's very geometric. There isn't much symbolism related to the Quran in terms of the number 6, but it is associated with the Ottoman Empire, and it's been a pretty popular design, especially associated with the architect Sinan.
There are parts that sort of jut out of the hexagon, and those are sort of pointing toward Mecca. So the idea was that as you're walking into the mosque, you're being led toward God.
We wanted to keep the interior of the mosque as plain and unadorned as possible to accentuate the natural feel of the room, while also giving the space the potential to be used for other large community gatherings.
The interior portion of our mosque will be filled with a lot of wide open spaces, almost as if to echo nature within the building. All of the rooms will be set up and decorated so that they are oriented to face the direction of Mecca. The purpose would be to establish that this mosque and all of its contents is a grand prayer to God. The prayer room will be located on the ground floor, and take up a massive chunk of the space. The room will be mostly bare in decoration to ensure that people are not distracted by the beauty of the room and focus more on God and praising Him.
The Qibla wall is the wall that faces towards Mecca. We decorated it with calligraphy. We thought that would be a great way to accentuate that wall. The rest of the walls are just wood and then glass to allow for light to enter and fill the mosque.
We wanted to keep the interior of the mosque as plain and unadorned as possible to accentuate the natural feel of the room, while also giving the space the potential to be used for other large community gatherings. This uncomplicated feel combines with our focus on nature in the designs of our mihrab and minbar. Drawing on the woods surrounding the mosque, the mihrab is made to look like an inverse tree trunk. The decorations of the mihrab come from the natural elements of the wood, such as the knots and niches. We decided it was necessary to have a mihrab to amplify and project the imam's voice during the prayer.
We did the mihrab somewhat simply so that it would kind of denote a kind of egalitarian space in the mosque. We thought that would be a nice way to make the mosque a more egalitarian space.
Under an awning are wooden bins so that people can take off their shoes and place them in these containers before they enter the mosque, which is obviously a critical component of getting ready for prayer. The courtyard is very open and much more open than maybe a traditional courtyard would be in a mosque, because we wanted to sort of have the natural world stand in as a sort of natural courtyard.
We chose not to designate separate spaces for genders, so we decided that we kind of leave that up to the people who would be running the mosque.
We have 2 fountains. This is pragmatic because we don't want to sort of have a really long line. But also, if the mosque or the leaders of the mosque so choose and want to have sort of a different fountain for men and women, they have the facilities to do that.
Many of the rooms comprising the mosque will serve as aids to the community. For instance, there will be a small infirmary and a daycare center for small children. There will also be rooms that are multi-purpose and can be used to hold court hearings, study room, and libraries, and lodging for those that need it temporarily.
There's also a playground outside for kids. We thought that because the mosque is located in kind of close to Harvard, and there might be a lot of Muslim grad students going, a lot of students have kids, and that the mosque could fill in with that service.